Hello, my name is Angela, and welcome to my channel, Divine Luxury. So, on this channel, I will be teaching you how feminine devotion meets feminine wealth, right? And everything about this channel is feminine presence versus feminine performance. I personally believe that since I came out in this feminine space several years ago, is that feminine energy teachings or feminine coaches are teaching a lot about performance, right? How to put on acts and things like that instead of truly teaching you how to embody true feminine energy. When you embody feminine energy, you don't need to remember any type of tactics or ways to do things, right? You don't need to remember how to get men to do this. You don't need to remember how to get what you want, how to communicate with men or anything like that, or 3 steps to get him to be obsessed with you, right? If you just embody the energy of femininity, a man in his true healthy masculine energy will just naturally be drawn to you, okay? And so, what I also want to say is that there are also a lot of teachings about how to um, get certain things from men. But the thing about it is that when you have this performative energy, right, you will also get men who are also in their performative energy. And they're not truly in their masculine energy. And sooner or later, all acts must end. All performances end, right? They're a form of entertainment. Entertainment ends. No matter how good it ends, the movie ends, the play ends, the circus ends. Okay? So what I want you to do is have something that's long lasting. And this is not just about men. Actually, it's not really about them at all. This is about you as a woman stepping into your power and owning who you are, owning your true essence and not being ashamed of it, not trying to hide it or not using it only as a form of manipulation when it comes to men. Okay, because the feminine power is truly the most powerful energy on the planet. That is my opinion. It is way more stronger than masculine energy, but the patriarchy has led you to believe that only masculine energy is worth noting, right? Because it's forceful, it pushes its way through, right? It seems to get things done, and it seems to be the way that power is established in this world. But many men throughout history have bowed to feminine energy, right? Women have been the causes of wars, okay? Many strong men have melted in the presence of feminine energy. Look what happened with Samson and Delilah, okay? The strongest man got caught up by a woman. Okay, now she was manipulating him, but he was also not in his truly healthy masculine energy, right? So, like attracts like he was distorted. He was not properly being in his healthy masculine energy that God had given him. That's why he was able to be manipulated. But it still rings true that masculine energy bows to feminine energy. And whatever energy that is, if you are in your healthy femininity, a healthy masculine man will bow to you. If you are in your feminine energy, then a performative man will bow to you. And you will get the result and the consequences of that. Okay, so that's enough of me going on my little beginning of the video rant. But my calling really here is to help women embody the soul of feminine energy and femininity and feminine essence and really return to how the divine intended women to step into their power in this world and to stop playing small and to stop making everything about masculinity and about men. Okay, you are just as powerful as men. Your power is just different. And there's nothing wrong with it. Stop feeling like you have to step into your masculine energy in order to be successful or to make a name for yourself. You can still be soft. You can still go with the flow and still be powerful. Okay, so today's video, we are going to be debunking how femininity is a limitation versus what it really is, which is liberation. Okay, so that's really what I want you to get to, from today's video, because a lot of women are leery of really getting their feminine energy because they see it as a limitation, and they really don't see how it really sets you free. It sets you free to be authentic. And when you're authentic, you don't need to make things happen. They just flow to you effortlessly. Okay. So ladies, please hear me, okay? My channel and my videos are going to be for women who truly want to embody what it means to be a feminine woman from her divine essence. Okay, and how wealthy she will be, and how much devotion she will have from herself, and then she will be able to get that devotion from the outside. And you won't need to play any games, you won't need to remember any tactics. Okay, you will just bring the right man to you from your energy, because remember, the law of attraction states that like always attracts like. And the thing about it is, you won't need to purposely manifest and do, write down things and visualize and all those things. Those things can be helpful. But honestly, if you just embody things, then you will always just attract what you need, because, life is abundant and energy is really the currency of the universe. Okay, so let me get into today's video. Okay, so I am going to use my stick to point. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how femininity is about liberation. Okay, it is about liberating you. Okay, it is not, femininity is not limitation. Okay, it is not limitation. Hear me when I say this, because for so long we have allowed ourselves to believe that masculinity and patriarchy and strongness, as far as brute force, is the way of the universe. Now, what I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about right now is, I'm going to list the ways that we think that feminine energy is limiting, okay? And why so many women are prone to get more into their masculine energy, and they think that that is the way to make a way in this universe, in this world. And they look down upon femininity because femininity has been looked down upon. The essence of femininity has been looked down upon, right? So actually, before I do this, what I'm going to do is kind of describe femininity with some adjectives and adjectives, I should say, so you can really understand what femininity is, okay? So femininity is softness. It's soft. It's soft, okay? It's very soft. It's it's being. It's being. It's in your body. It's, how do I feel? How are things making me feel? But I also want to point out, because it is about being in your body, it is also about taking very good care of yourself. Okay, as a woman, you take very good care of yourself. As a person who is embodying femininity, you will naturally take very good care of your physical body. It's not about vanity, but it's about giving your body the best care that you can. Okay, I'm not saying that you have to go above and beyond what you can do or afford, but whatever you can do and afford, you do the best that you can with what you have. Okay, so it's about being in your body. It's about being in your feelings. This is very, very important. Feminine energy is about being in your feelings. You feel things, and being in your feelings means that you are in your heart. You are in your heart. Okay, how do I feel about things? Whenever you are having any type of dilemma in your day or you need to make a decision, a lot of us get into our masculine energy of logic and thinking. Now, of course, that has a place because a lot of situations that you may be in, you do need to think about them, right? You need to come up with a solution. But your first thing as a woman should be, how do I feel? How do I feel about this situation? And that will lead you to another very, very, very important feminine aspect, which is intuition. Okay. Feminine energy is about being intuitive, right? You're not going to have proof of why certain things make you feel a certain way or why you feel a certain way around some certain people, but that's where intuition goes. And honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves, we realize that the times that we didn't pay attention to our intuition, we realized that we were steered wrong. Okay. So, and this is something that is very unique to women. We have a what they call a woman's intuition. Okay, it doesn't mean that men don't have intuitions, they do, but a lot of times because of their nature, which is to be in their head, they kind of ignore their intuition and go more to what makes sense. But intuition is not about what makes sense. It's about getting a download from your soul self, your spirit self. You can say the divine, you can say God, your soul self, your higher self, whatever you want to say, that is giving you some type of information that you don't have physical proof of. If you feel a certain way about something or a person, you feel like something's not right, or you feel like something is right, that is intuition. But also it leads back to the heart and it leads back to feelings. It leads back to those things. This is feminine energy. Okay. Feminine energy is also about surrender. Surrender. Now, this is a very controversial one because a lot of women think that everyone thinks that surrendering means weakness, right? When there's war and you surrender, you feel like, okay, I lost the war, right? And when there was wars, whenever people surrendered, they gave up and they felt like, okay, I lost, right? But that's not what surrender is. Surrendering and giving up are two different things. Surrendering is actually being in flow. Being in flow. And flow is a feminine concept, okay? It's like water. Water is the most feminine element there is. It is a feminine element because it's not trying to make things happen. It just moves. But it's the most powerful element. Everything bows to water on this planet. Water extinguishes the other element of fire. It breaks through the other element of earth and it mixes with the element of air to give precipitation and different things like that that we need. So even though water never forces anything, it never forces anything. It is very powerful. And feminine energy is just like water. Water is in flow. It flows. You see streams, you see lakes, they just flow. They're not trying to get past rocks and stuff like that. But rocks, they get through rocks. They move through them or sometimes they break through them depending on the situation. So really what surrender is about allowing. It is about flow. Okay? It's not about trying to get something from someone or get something outside of you. It is about making a decision about your life and then putting up boundaries and standards that does not let any experience that is opposite of that within your sphere of reality. For example, now I really want to make a caveat that I want us to kind of focus on ourselves, but I know a lot of people are into dating and things like that. So I will use an example in dating and men for this. But surrender. So let's say we surrender in dating, right? So you're getting to know someone and you really like him, but maybe things are moving as fast as you want them to move, or you're not getting something that you want from him, a commitment, or I don't know, whatever it may be. So surrender means that I accept what I see happening, okay? I accept it, whatever it is. I may not like it, but I accept it. I say, okay, I don't like the fact that we've been dating for 4 months and he hasn't mentioned me being his girlfriend or whatever, okay? But I accept that that is the reality that I'm in right now. So I accept it. So this is the beginning of surrender. I don't say, "Hey, why haven't you made me your girlfriend?" or give him an ultimatum, because that gets into masculine energy of force. We're trying to force things, and that's not what water does. Feminine energy is like water. It doesn't force, okay? It allows and it goes with the flow. I need everyone to see that. It goes with the flow. Okay, so we accept where we are. We say, this is where I'm at with this particular person. Now, is this what I want? Yes or no? Okay. And then if the answer is no, then we say, okay, well, what do I want? Okay, I want to be a girlfriend. I want to be in a committed relationship. I want to get married. I want to feel like things are moving forward with this person or any person, right? So what should I do? How can I handle this without making this, one, about him, and two, forcing an outcome? I just see what I see and I say, okay, I don't necessarily have to end what I have with this individual. But what I can do is focus on how I'm feeling and put my energy all the way back on myself and do what feels good to me. So whatever that is, it doesn't have to be a rule. If it says, okay, I'm going to stop checking my phone to see when he's going to call me, or I'm going to stop worrying about the status of our relationship. Instead, I'm going to do what feels good to me. Maybe that's go travel. Maybe that's hang out with friends more. Maybe that's get more into self-care, skincare, exercise. Maybe that's get a hobby. Maybe that's date other men. Date him and date other men. But whatever it is, it's about me. It's about me. Okay? It's about me, not him. So being in surrender means I am putting all of my energy on me and whatever feels good to me. Okay, I'm focused on me, and whatever feels good to me, I'm going to worry about me, and I'm going to surrender the outcome to the universe, to the divine, to God, and just say, whatever is meant for me will be. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my life, and I'm not going to be worried about what he is doing or trying to make this relationship happen, because the God honest truth is that you cannot force an outcome anyway. Either someone wants you to be with you and bring a relationship forward, or they don't. And if they don't, that's their right, right? And you just move accordingly. But this doesn't just apply to dating. This applies to anything. If you're trying to have a certain career and things aren't working out, stop trying to make it happen and focus on other areas that are easier for you. And then just let the pieces fall. It doesn't mean give up on trying to establish a career, but take away the force. Take away, I'm trying to make something happen. Okay. So this is a little bit about what feminine energy is. Now, this video is getting very long, so I want to go to the next part. I want to go to the next part of this. So the next part of this is why femininity is seen as a limitation. So a lot of people see femininity as a limitation because they see it as a weakness, right? Like a lot of people think that being feminine means that I am weak. I am a damsel. I need to be saved. I can't handle things myself. And actually, none of those things are femininity. Being a damsel is not feminine. Not being able to take control of your life and make things happen in your own life is not feminine energy. Waiting to be saved is not feminine energy. Okay? So it is not about being weak. A lot of people just simply don't understand what it means to be feminine, right? So a lot of people see it as weakness. A lot of people see it as what's I'm sorry, what's the word I'm trying to find? So a lot of people see it as a weakness, right? They see it as I'm weak. I I can't get things done if I'm in my feminine energy. And a lot of people really think that they will be taken advantage of if they're in their feminine energy, right? Because in society, we see people who don't use like force, brute energy as not capable. And therefore, we kind of see them as prey, right? So a lot of people feel that they'd be taken advantage of if they get in their feminine energy. But it again goes back to this one because they see it as a weakness. Okay. So another thing that where people see femininity as limitation is because a lot of people nowadays are teaching feminine energy in the form of performance. Okay. And so they're seeing it as dependency. Dependency. So they're seeing it as I have to depend on the masculine energy in order to have success, have what I want, get things in life. And a lot of women want to be independent, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So feminine energy is not being dependent. Actually, it is about inter interdependence. So when you are in a relation with a healthy masculine, he will also be dependent on you. You will be dependent on him, and it will be an equal dependence. Okay. So if the woman or the feminine party is only dependent, then this is unhealthy. This is codependency and it's unhealthy and it's not true, healthy, divine, feminine energy. Okay, so a lot of people see it as, oh, I'm going to be dependent. A lot of people see it as less than inferior, I guess is the correct word, inferior. So a lot of people see it as inferior to masculine energy because it doesn't really seem to be accomplishing anything on the outside, right? It seems like, oh, it's all about feelings and pink and flowers and things like that. But this lets you know that you don't really understand it. Okay, so this is why a lot of people see femininity as a limitation because the patriarchy has made women and men see it as something that is inferior, something where you are dependent on men and you can't survive without them. Therefore, they're able to take advantage of you and they see you as weak and a damsel. And, a lot of women don't want that. And that is perfectly fine. And that is how it should be. You should not want these things because this is not femininity anyway. And a lot of the feminine coaches nowadays teach women in this arena, right? They teach you different tactics so that you can be dependent on men. So that you can be inferior to them, so that you can be weak and be a damsel and you need them to save you. So a lot of the femininity coaches are teaching you performative femininity. This is performance. This is performance, and therefore you will be limited because you're not being authentic. And this This femininity here is all about men. It's all about catering to the masculine ego. Now, on this side, where we have liberation, this is really on this side, this is where we're going to get into what femininity truly is. Okay. So on this side, we're going to talk about what femininity really is. Okay. So here, femininity is about, it's about strength, believe it or not, but it's more of a quiet strength. It's not loud. It's not boisterous. But again, remember what I said about water? This is water, by the way. Water is not loud like fire or wind. Those are loud things. Water is very quiet. When you go sit next to a stream, it soothes you. You hear the little water sounds and it's very soothing. It's quiet. It causes you to go inward. This is what feminine strength is about. It's a different type of strength. It's not rock. It's water, and water is stronger. It's the strongest element. Okay? So you're in your quiet strength. So what that means, what that looks like is that you're not yelling, you're not demanding, you're not giving ultimatums, right? You're not getting in people's faces. You're just having standards and you're saying yes and no to things and you're going in the directions that feel good to you. You force people to respect you by your presence. You don't need to say too much. Your presence will cause them to see your strength, your quiet strength, and they will respect you as a woman. Men and friends, family, they will know that they need to approach you in a certain way, or you will remove access to yourself. That's quiet strength. Now, even though as a feminine energy, you're in your heart, that doesn't mean you don't use your mind, but it means your heart is first. Then you go to what is the logical way to handle this. So then you think critically, you think critically about how to make your next move. So in that example where I said you're in a situation where you want a certain commitment that you're not getting or you haven't gotten. First, how does this make me feel? Or how do I want to feel in the relationship that I want to be in or whatever. Then you think critically on how I can get to the next level that I want to be in. And I will give you a shortcut or a cheat to this. The answer, no matter what the actual solution is, the answer is always going to be about yourself. Feminine energy is about me. Now, it's not about me in a selfish, gimme, gimme, gimme way. Actually, that's more of a masculine energy, right? Because as many women are aware, men will always put themselves first. They rarely think about, not saying they don't, but when it comes down to the wire, 9 times out of 10, decisions they make is usually for their benefit first. But it's not in the feminine way of it being about me. It's in the selfish masculine way of like, I need power. I need to make a way in the world. But feminine energy is about putting me first, but it's about doing in a way that is honoring yourself first, but also being kind to others. It's not dismissing them. It's not thinking you're better than them. It's not, me against the world, I'm going to get mine and forget about everybody else. Okay? So that's what more feminine selfishness, I want to say, is about. It's about doing what's best for me first, but in doing that, I'm not, knocking down my fellow man. I'm not being selfish and only about me, right? So this one is it's about me first, but it's not only about me, right? Okay, so let's move on. So you're thinking critically about how do I get to the next step? How does it feel for me to be at the next step? And what do I need to focus on within myself or in my own life that will help me get to the next step? Where am I putting too much of my energy outside of me? Because usually when things are not going great in our lives, especially in relationships, it's because we are focusing too much outside of ourselves instead of focusing inward or focusing on the things that we have going on in our life. Even if it's just for a short distraction, right? You just will have a better point of view after you have gone inward about things. So you think critically about how to get to the next step. Critical thinking is a feminine thing because it's inward. Anything that's inward is feminine. Think critically. Okay, how do I get to the next step? So then, then what I want to say is femininity is also about boundaries and standards. Now, not saying that masculine energy, of course, isn't also about boundaries and standards, okay? Because humans, we need boundaries and standards, whatever your energy is. But as being a part of the feminine energy cohort, this is very important because your strength is quiet, right? Your strength is quiet, so you get respect by upholding these things here in a quiet manner. Now, quiet does not mean silence. It doesn't mean you don't speak up because you cannot uphold your boundaries and standards if you're not speaking up when it's appropriate. And you don't love yourself also if you don't speak up when you need to. So you never want to be a doormat and you never want to not speak up for yourself. And I don't care who it is. You never let anyone overstep your boundaries and standards. But I'm going to do something. I think I have a podcast on standards, I believe. So my podcast is Divine Luxury as well. But standards are, and I'm not going to go into it for sake of time right now, but basically just a little thing. Standards are what a lot of people are having standards that are actually, I think the last video, no, actually, I'm sorry. The last YouTube video I did was about standards. So basically, standards is they are about you, okay? They're about you and what is important to you. But a lot of people make standards about outside things like he has to do this, he has to have that, right? That's not a standard, okay? Those are just things that you want in someone else, but you can't control other people. So you have to have standards that are about you. Again, feminine energy is about me. Okay? If your feminine energy is focused on men, if your feminine energy is focused on men, you're in performance of femininity. You're in performance here. You're not in presence. 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 This is what true femininity about is about presence. I know but it's about presence. So, okay, that's all I'm going to say. Watch the video that I made before this to really get an understanding about standards. But boundaries are very important because boundaries are a thing that protect you from disrespect, from harm, from different things like that. Now, of course, we live in a world where no one's perfect and even ourselves. And, you can't prevent bad things from happening. occurrences or interactions with people. Things happen, but you can't minimize it by having boundaries. Okay. So that means that, you know, I want to have a relationship where someone respects me and respects my time. That is a standard right there. It's about me. So standards help you make your boundaries. Okay, so my standards, I want to have some a man, let's just say man, even though I really want to make this about us, but a man who respects my time and and is working towards a committed relationship. That's my standard. It's about me though. This is what I want. I want to be in a healthy relationship with someone who respects my time. Everything is about me. It's not saying what men have to do. It's saying what I want and what's important to me. Then that helps me to create the boundary of my phone goes on do not disturb at 9:30 p.m. every day. So I'm not answering calls from men after 9:30. That way they're respecting my time and energy. Okay. So this is feminine energy, and this is how you have quiet strength, because then they will start to learn how they have to treat you, how they have to approach you. And this is how you gain the strength and power over men. Okay, that's the secret. Even though, like I said, I don't want to make this about men, I want to make this about us. But if you really want to do that, this is how you gain strength over men. This is how you become water. The most important element on this planet is water. The most powerful element on this planet is water, and it's because water moves quietly, but it stays in flow. It never forces its way through anything. It just keeps flowing, and then things rearrange itself so that the water can keep flowing. And that's how the masculine energy will handle you. It will rearrange itself so that you can keep flowing. Now, if it doesn't, then you remove yourself. You remove access to yourself. That's all you do. You keep flowing away from that rock. Okay? But you don't try and, you know, beat the rock to get it to behave or whatever. So this is really the important aspect of what femininity is. And this is how you truly step into your power as a woman. And this is how you gain, between me and you, this is how you gain control. Even though I don't like that word, because there really is no thing as control. Things are always going to go leery and go haywire. But I guess, for lack of a better word that is coming to my mind right now, maybe control is best. No, not control. This is how you gain, like, maybe the upper hand or something in relationships. Because I really don't like that word control for many reasons. But it's how you gain the upper hand with men, you know, especially if he's the right man for you. Now, if he's toxic or feminine or, just not in his healthy masculinity, then it doesn't matter how feminine you are and how many boundaries or standards you have that are geared towards you, then he's always going to, just not show up properly. But what I really want to say, and I'm going to start closing this video because it's getting really long, but is that really when you focus on you, and I really want you to hear me. When you focus on you as a woman, then 9 times out of 10, men will focus on you too. Men usually focus on where you focus on. So if you're focused on them, then they will only be focused on them. And I think I said this in my last video. But if you focus on yourself, then they will be more focused on you as well. Now, is that the case in all 100% you? No, there are various factors. Is he actually interested in you? Is he in his masculine energy? Does he want to date you seriously? Like, there's many factors to how well this will work. But if every all the other pieces are in place to this, then that is absolutely 100% true, that when you focus on you, he will focus on you. And that is really presence femininity versus performative femininity, where you are only doing tactics and things like that to get a masculine reaction from him and things like that, and to get him to behave that way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video right now because it is very long. And my goal is to not make these videos too long, but I do, when I get in my teaching mode, I can go on for a minute. So I hope that if you've made it this far, you really got some really good nitty-gritty out of this video. Please feel free to drop in the comments some things that you learned in this video, some things that you want clarification on, and any topics if you think of them that you may want me to speak on another video about. But I would like all of you to please follow me, subscribe to this channel, and find me throughout the internet universe. Pretty much every handle is It's Divine Luxury. My website is divineluxury.co, where you can get the first two chapters of my latest book, A Return to Yourself, which I think it is so important because, again, feminine energy is about being in tune with yourself. So I love you all. Thank you again for watching this video and enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time.